So let's do Beast first, and then we'll do some Ezra Miller. We'll do the Ezra Miller stuff, and then I'll let Nick get
Beast.
a. What I
Beast
what I
or alternate working title. Damn nature, you scary.
Yeah, pretty much what should it be. And it's not Beast of No Nation. That's another movie there with Idris Elba that's on Netflix right
Yeah.
now. So it's not that. So here you have a movie called Beast. Beast starring Idris Elba. In this movie, Idris Elba with his two daughters, who by the way, like his actual real life daughter tried to audition for the movie, but then she got denied. So I guess and then she was kind of angry about that. I think he said or she's talked about kind of being disappointed that she wasn't casted in it, which
Didn't
is
talk
kind
to him
of
for 3 weeks.
yeah, which is kind of like I mean yeah, that's the issue you kind of run into. Like I don't know, maybe she had to really suck not for nepotism not to work. I guess. I mean you got to think how probably bad that audition was. It's like it's like they kind of let people
Yeah.
slide through. But yeah, she didn't even talk to her dad Idris Elba for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Which is like creates kind of an awkward situation. Yeah, but yeah. So you have two of his daughters in this movie. I'm gonna pull up the name of the two actresses who played his daughter real quick. Um, who I think do a decent job in the movie. I think the main thing with this movie that it's pretty short. It's only an hour and 30 something minutes, and you
Mhm.
have to rush a lot of character development because with this movie of about him traveling to South Africa with his two daughters. There he meets up with a friend of his played by Charlotte Copley, who was happy to see Charlotte Copley. Haven't seen him that much. I mean, I think the last movie I saw him in was maybe The A Team if I'm remembering. I think maybe that's maybe the last thing
He's
I
been in
saw.
other stuff since then, but never as like a really big part of it. He's been in stuff like Elysium, Hardcore Henry,
He's
and
great in Free Fire. Like Free Fire is a movie
oh
that most people need to watch. He's great in
I've been
that.
meaning to watch Free Fire. Yeah, I've been meaning to
yeah,
check that out.
and he's also a recurring character on Russian Doll on Netflix.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
really?
right.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Gives me more
Russian Doll's
reason.
great, by the way.
Yeah, gives me more reason to check out that show because I do like Charlton Copley, and he shows up with a beard, and he looks pretty good with the beard. I think the beard suits him pretty well,
He does.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's they go find they go meet up with him, who works out there working with different animals, lions and such in South Africa, and then they come across a mean ass lion, super lion, almost to a degree. That starts to hunt and stalk them out in the plains of South Africa. So like I said, with this movie, it being as short as it is, only an hour and 30 minutes. There's a lot of issues where they rush a lot of character development stuff, with him and the
Hmm.
teenage daughters of you got to have the situation where they have to, delve all this stuff in the first kind of 20 minutes of the movie of like you left and you didn't come back because Idris Elba's character, was estranged from his wife, when she died and, that kind of left a strain on the relationship he has with the kids and things of that such. So, they kind of all spill all that out very kind of sloppy, I
Hmm.
think, which was kind of not done all that well. And then a lot of this movie, I think some of it also with a movie, even though this is about like a lion, which is a real creature, it is a creature feature type movie. Kind of also you would say it's kind of something like Jaws. You know what I mean? And animal, man versus animal type of thing, and animal stalking
I,
it.
at some points, I agree with you that it is kind of a simplified creature feature. However, this line is more like a motherfucking slasher than it is any kind of like monster. This is closer in structure to like a Friday the 13th movie than any film like Jaws or something like that.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
I agree with you, Nick, but this is more. This is the movie that The Gray was advertised to be. That's exactly what this movie is, and
Mhm.
and for that, fuck yeah, go Lion.
Yeah, this is where The Gray, which is one of my favorite movies ever and one of my
Great
favorite Liam
movie.
Neeson performances, that one was sold as just Taken but with wolves, and
Yeah.
what it ended up being was this meditation on loss, on death, a very Jack London type story. And this is basically the movie that was advertised that The Gray was advertised to be.
Mm, yeah. Very much so. Because I mean, you have this line, and the line does a lot of like asshole shit. Like it You know what I mean? They're going like, wow, it's almost the line.
This line's fucking petty.
I mean, the line is like, this is a scene where it's like he's almost like setting a person up to be bait. You know what I mean? This line is incredibly highly intelligent and all this other stuff like this. It's like it's doing some asshole shit. I mean, throughout the entire movie, really. And it's
yeah, yeah. Without giving away spoilers, there's a scene where they supposedly tranquilize it, and then like the next scene, it's just like on the rock looming over them, and it's like, I'm still here, bitch.
Yeah. Oh, and it's that line.
This line is petty as fuck.
Yeah, I love. It's so good. It's so good.
Hunter, what were your thoughts on it?
Here's the thing. So I did a double feature last night of Emily the Criminal with Aubrey Plaza. Everyone go see that shit. It's amazing, by the way. And I ended my night with Beast, and I went into it basically, saying what I told Nick. I wanted Idris Elba versus Lion. That's my title for the film. I don't even call it Beast. It's Elba versus Lion, and you get multiple rounds of it.
Just Elba beat Elba v Lion, Dawn of Justice.
Someone needs to make a Photoshop poster of the lion, like one of those little prize fight like the boxing posters. Like, give me that shit on a t-shirt. But
look us up, internet. Do it.
Right, come on, y'all. But straight up, I was like, I want to see Idris Elba fight a fucking lion, and I got exactly what I wanted in spades. And this movie is very akin to something like Cloverfield in the sense of early on they show you just the lion here and there, like a little shadow, and like some people claw the shit, and you're just like, oh man, like just enough to keep your appetite wet. But then when that lion shows up, it's like, oh fuck, this is not good for any of you. And that lion, to Nick's point, it's a super lion. Like it's been injected with Bane's venom. Like that lion is fucking. That lion's huge. It looks terrifying too. Which I gotta say, for the CG, I think we've talked about this before. Like, what do you want? What do you want, y'all? Like, PETA's everywhere. Like, you can't have Egypt punch an actual lion in the face.
Well, the Humane Society more than PETA. PETA would probably just kill that lion.
I mean, you know what? You're not wrong.
Yeah, but in truth, obviously, this film most likely didn't have the biggest budget possible. However, most of the shots of the lion, I think, are like in darkness, which is where I think the CG on it looks the best.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. One thing I will say, the cinematography in this movie is fucking excellent. Like the way.
I wasn't expecting the film to be shot this well, because what this director, I'm blanking on the name of the director at this moment, but how he decides to shoot this, he like chooses to do these like long tracking one takes for like a lot of the scenery. Baltazar Kormaker, I think is how you pronounce his name. And these long takes that really give you a sense of the space and the geography of whatever the scene is set in. And shout out to the cinematographer, Philippe Rousselet.
Yeah. I mean, you are dealing with, South Africa, beautiful, sweeping shots of, you see the landscape of everything, the sun, they do some great stuff with that, where you see the kind of sun, on the plain of the country and everything. And it is beautiful to kind of look at it and everything like that. When it comes to the look of like the animals in it, when it comes to some of the, CGI on the lions, doesn't look the strongest. I mean, obviously the budget probably wasn't that high on this. Like Nick said.
Yeah, the budget. Yeah, I'm on Wikipedia. The budget is around $36 million.
Yeah, so that's a pretty kind of small budget for a movie nowadays.
This looks good though for 36 mil.
Yeah, it does. It does.
I mean, yeah.
Which, I mean, look at like what would be the gold standard or something like this. I guess would be The Lion King, like 2019, which was the the version they did of that. Which would, they did look really great with a lot of the movements, I think, of the animals and everything like that. And like Nick mentioned, I mean, when it is in darkness, especially that's when the lion is even more scarier. It's like, especially when it's prowling around. And that's even when it's even more terrifying.
And very much like Jaws, the sound design of this, where every like twig snapping, every like rustling of a bush, I'm tensing up. It's like, oh fuck, where's that fucker?
Yeah. I mean, and when they did, I mean, there are a lot of jump scares in this movie, and they do feel kind of cheap in a way, but I mean, it was very effective. I mean, it was very good at seeing this kind of line
Hey,
jump out people. It was very, very
I always
effective.
I always say this about jump scares. If it works, it isn't cheap.
Mm. I, I think
Yeah.
I think a lot of what they do is obviously trying to elicit a reaction out of somebody, that's fast and kind of easy.
Mhm.
But I mean, it is this, this kind of apex predator coming at people and clawing at people, and it is absolutely kind of fun to watch and absolutely kind of terrifying to watch because I think that also taps into a lot of people's real fear of like when you do these tours, like when you go to like Africa and you drive and you see these animals. Oh, that's cute. The animals come up to the window of the vehicle and you get hand them food, but it's always that sometimes an asshole animal that comes through the window and tries to really get inside and you see videos like that, people scared as fuck, you know what I mean? Like screaming and, you know what I mean? So it does tap into kind of real fear that a lot of people sometimes have when they go to, maybe a place like Africa.
Yeah,
Okay,
the,
so
the
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
the real fear that I think this film taps into is don't fuck with nature.
Dude, and thank you, because I'm gonna look, white friends, listen to me. This is a movie for y'all to understand. Do not fuck with things in nature. Because I was sitting there the whole time. Because my friend asked me, he's like, do you feel bad for some of the black people that get killed in the movie? I was like, no, absolutely fucking not. They got exactly what their asses deserved. And seriously, this is a lesson. Do not fuck with nature. If there's a point where we're Sharto Copley, and I was laughing because it's like, of course, a white dude would do this. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go up to the line and say hello," and I'm like, "Dude!" And like, Idris Elba's Nate is smart. He's like, "All right, girl, stay
Fuck
the fuck
that.
back." Even the black guy who's there doing his job is like, "I'm gonna stay over here by my car and let your ass get eaten." It's like, oh my god, but
It is kind of a sweet scene, and also just the writer in my brain was going, okay, Chekhov's lion pride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, it's the thing about these movies is that these type of movies is that you front load the characters, like you give them just enough, like, okay, like, yeah, Nate lost his wife, his daughter's mad because of it, he's going through through a crisis because he's a doctor, and if you don't get a strong actor like an Idris Elba, this shit would fall apart. But this movie is held together quite a bit because of him. Like, he has this great scene early on in the film with Sharto's Martin, where he just talks about how, I'm a doctor and death came to our door and I didn't recognize it. And you're like, God damn, Idris could have, like, we've talked about this off Mike and Nick. Idris never really phones it in, even when he probably, like, Hobbs and Shaw, he should have phoned that shit in, but he's like, him and Vanessa Kirby carry that fucking movie.
Yeah, Hobbs and Shaw, stuff like that, stuff like some of his other movies, like the one he did with Beyonce, he could easily phone those in and still get obsessed.
Yeah.
He could easily phone any of those performances in, and he would still manage to get work after that because, I mean, look at him. He's Idris fucking Elba.
Yeah, it's
yeah, he is a guy who always comes to play and always brings his A game and constantly bringing these really great performances, like even voiceover stuff like Shere Khan in the Jungle Book remake, stuff
good.
like Bloodsport in the Suicide Squad, Knuckles in Sonic 2, which just came out this year.
He's Knuckles.
Yeah.
Motherfucker lying his ass off saying he wasn't going to try to make Knuckles sound sexy.
I mean, yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah, that's it's hard to not do. But I real quick, I want to throw out the screenwriter Ryan Engel has such a weird filmography. So he starts with Nonstop with Liam Neeson, which I think Nonstop fucking rules. I dig Nonstop quite a bit. Then he does Then he does a Commuter. Okay, it's alright, it's fine. Then he does Rampage with Dwayne Johnson, which I think fucking sucks.
Fuck off.
I think Rampage is goddamn awful. And then he follows that up with that Gabriel Union movie, Breaking In, which is such a bad movie, and it's like, goddamn, dude, like what's going on? And he has a movie this year called Cowboy Ninja Viking, which, I mean,
okay, that sounds awesome, but it also sounds like it's going to be straight to Walmart $5 rack and starring Steven Seagal.
Yeah. Well, it stars Chris Pratt and
Oh, same thing.
That's well played. But this movie though, it's a lot of fun. Like the biggest complaint I have about this movie is that, again, it's one reason why I don't watch a lot of horror, because I just watch the way white people respond in horror films. I'm like, you're being so dumb. Like, why are you doing this thing? And his daughters at multiple points are like honking the horn when this lion is in the vicinity. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Why are you trying to draw attention so that this lion comes and chases you? Stop doing that shit. And there are just moments, there are a few moments like that where I went, and it just did bother me, but it wasn't enough to like deter my enjoyment too much. But those things are there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of see where you're coming from. However, for me, like, you never know how you're going to respond in a crisis like this.
True.
And, you know, when you're in a panic, sometimes logic does go out the window.
Yeah, and these are teenagers too. That's the other thing.
So,
like,
they're teenagers, so they're already fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, you know, probably thinking about boys and jelly beans and Snickers and shit. But I was a dumb fucking teenager, so I get it. It's like, you know, but the critic brain sometimes kicks in. I think critic brain kicks in a little hard for people in general sometimes, because to Nick's point, you don't know how you're going to react in a crisis like that, because it's a scary fucking situation without getting into spoilers. Like when they lay out the gravity of it, you're kind of like, oh, you're kind of fucked actually, the way the film lays it out. So
And the two teenage daughters. So here you have Meredith and Nora, which are the character names. So Lee Savvy plays the older girl, who's Nora. And then Layala Haley plays Meredith, who's the younger daughter. Yeah, I think both do a fine job. I think some of the stuff with the older daughter, Nora, is a lot of like, you know, bratty kind of teenager stuff, you know.
like a teenager.
True, but this is also not that kind of movie. If you want serious father-daughter drama, watch something else. Yeah. Because we're here to see a lion fuck shit up.
Yeah. If you coming in this to watch, you know, a lion eat people and do all that stuff, this is the movie for you. This will accomplish that goal. And if you want to see that and you want to see a lion really fuck some shit up, like Nick said, then yeah, this is definitely a movie that you'll enjoy and you'll like and you'll have a good time with. So I think it's, you know, whether you have to kind of rush out to go see it in theaters, I don't really think so. You know, kind of, I'm going to be giving my final thoughts and rating here. I don't really think it's necessarily a movie that you have to do that for. You know, it is nice kind of seeing more of these kind of smaller budget type movies, because this is only $36 million. So I would like to see it do well, because I would like to see kind of more movies with this type of budget, you know, in theaters. You don't necessarily go big and have, you know, $200 million, $100 million movies all the time just in movie theaters. And to Hunter's point, you know, Idris Elba does a great job at anchoring this thing. You know, he is a great veteran at that, and does a very good job, and is a great actor. And Charlotte Copley also does a good job here. You know, as a person who works with the animals. And seeing kind of some poachers you kind of see in the movie, so it kind of even gives you another, you know, person to kind of root for, you know, kind of like, you know, to root against here in the movie, and to cheer even for the lion at some points, you know what I mean, which was kind of exciting to watch.
Up until Idris Elba and his daughters enter the picture, I was rooting for the lion. Like, the lion, fuck these poachers up.
Yeah, the lion's 1,000% right. Like, yeah.
So that was fun. So. I mean, listen, you're just kind of going to see that. It's not going to be the deepest film you see this year. It's not going to be the most dramatic film. It's not going to be the best film you see this year in any way. But it is, I think, enjoyable just on the fronts that we named for that. So for those reasons, I would give it a stream it for me. All right. Hunter?
Yeah, so this would make for a double feature with The Edge or Crawl, if you haven't seen Crawl. Crawl's amazing, by the way.
Crawl rules.
Like, y'all, if you have not seen Crawl, this is a great double feature with Crawl. By the way, hunting is not a sport. How can a sport exist if both sides don't know they're playing? Just like to throw that out about hunting. Anyways, moving on. But as far as my rating, I dug this so much. This is a movie I would say you should see in a theater with an audience. My theater was packed for this, and there's one jump scare of a guy hitting the side of this Jeep that got me so goddamn bad. I was like, "Oh, you son!" Like it got me so good, I almost spilt my beer. I was like, "Fuck you!" But I laughed, I cheered. It was a roaring good time. Um, but, but but as far as a grade, I'm gonna give this a low. I'm gonna give it a low tune in. Yeah, because I paid full price to see this in the theater, and I was like, you know what, this was worth it to see the line freak out on people, and to see a seat with an audience of people who are having fun. Yeah, it's been a nice couple weeks between this and Bullet Train of just fun action shit. So
Yeah.
see this low tune in.
Okay.
For me, I think it is a very enjoyable film. I think Idris Elba's performance is spectacular for what in the hands of any other actor would have kind of been a thin script. Charlton Copley, he's always great to see, even though he doesn't always pick the best projects. But this is probably on the better side of the spectrum of Copley. The cinematography in this, and the DP. Oh, fuck, I literally just had the name. And how the cinematographer, Felipe Rousselot, how he chooses to shoot this and how he manages to capture that feeling of being on the South African plains. It is a very tense film every time you see that lion. And while I don't think this is a film you necessarily need to go rush out to see at a theater, I'm giving this a very high. This is a movie that is made to gather some friends, order some pizza, some beer, and just chill out and have a great old time with.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So you give it a high stream it. You kind of
high
pause.
Stream it, right?
Yeah, you kind of pause.
Yeah, I give it a high. I give it a high stream it.
Okay. All right. Great stuff. So one low tune in, one high stream it, and just a regular stream it. All right. Nice. I'm going to be moving on.